All right, here we go. One more time.
Hi, YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Okay. Your homework tonight is this. Make sure you do your odds. Check the odds in the back of the book, and your progress report's due tomorrow. I need your books back tomorrow, please. Yes. If you have it back tomorrow, then I'll give you a pass for a free no book day. We'll see. We'll see how that works. I'll let you know. All right, here we go. The whole point of this lecture, this topic, actually, you've already been doing this in science class for a year now, a couple years now. This is just more sciencey related, which is great. So tonight's topic: isolate the given variable. They will tell you solve for the letter, solve for X, solve for D, solve for J, solve for K. They will tell you which letters to solve for. If you're like the two-step, multi-step, this is going to be even more challenging. And I think you like this a lot. Let's start with something really simple that you already know. For example, D equals rate times time. The distance equals the rate times time. Ms. Cole, the distance equals the rate times time. Hey, guess what we're doing today?
What?
We're solving for a variable. All variables. And we're solving for the variable. We're solving for, she's right there. It's already solved for the letter D, so we're solving for, instead, T. Okay? Now, some of y'all remember the magic triangle, right?
No, I don't think they did. I don't think we didn't teach that.
Okay, well, I'll let that'll be a surprise for you then. Okay. So here, you're going to solve for the T. T is time. In these problems in physics, sometimes they give you the distance and the rate. They ask you to solve for the time. When you become sophomores, no, juniors, you'll take physics.
No.
Yeah, good luck. Okay? This is very, very simple. Treat these as if they were numbers. This is a very difficult topic. For example, if I want to solve for T's and Tom, I must get rid of the R. The operation between R and T is times. Do the opposite. Divide. Right. So I'm going to rewrite it here. D equals RT. If I'm solving for T here, I'm dividing both sides of the equal sign. I'm balancing my equation so that I'm able to eliminate R to get T by itself. Now my new equation is the distance over the rate divided by the rate is the time. I told you it was going to be an easy problem. Okay, that's all I got. Okay. Now.
Can I do one by myself?
Yes, of course. All right. Now, let's do this by yourself, and I'm going to walk around the room to make sure you're in the right track. Area equals the length times the width. Solve for the length. The beginning problems are easier. As we get more tricky, we'll have fractions and decimals and like 6 letters in it. Any more grade check sheets? Good. Check your answers to your neighbors. Yes. Keep working. It's the bell's off. They have an activity schedule. It's weird. Check your neighbors. Check your answers to your neighbors. That's area equals length times the width.
Teachers, let's disregard that fail. It's still on activity schedule from last year. We'll make the changes.
So here,
Back in class, so,
last week. Okay. Okay, so we need to get rid of W. So we divide both sides of the equal sign by W. My new equation is the area divided by the width. It will give you the length. Here we go. Oh, okay, something simple. Okay, let me move this up a little bit. Let's try this one. Now, remember, just to keep this in mind, no negative variables. X minus y equals 5. They will always tell you what to solve for. In this case, solve for y. Remember, no negative variables in the answer. If you think 2 steps ahead, you'll see what I'm talking about. Solve for y. Again, this is going to help you become a better science student, because a lot of those formulas you have to solve yourself. Density, rate, mass. That's correct. Solve for y. It will tell you every time what to solve for. I just told you, when you solve for equations and stuff, if you have the area of something, but you don't know the length, but you have the width, divide it to get the width, and so on.
So we get square.
And now you're just complaining. Oh, wait. Yes. Let's go. Take away x on both sides of the equal sign. That crosses out. Remember, you're going to bring down the entire, not y, negative y. Bring down the 5, bring down the x. Now, again, no negative variables. To get the y to be positive, again, divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Everything here gets divided by negative 1, which really just flips the value of the signs, right? So this just becomes y equals negative 5 plus x, or what's another acceptable? All right. What's another acceptable answer? Y equals, letter first, x minus 5. These are both acceptable. That's fine. That works too. As long as the variable is solved for and it's positive. You solve for y, there's your equation. Now, which equation do I like better? I like the second one better, because that's how you graph a line. Chapter 5. We'll get there. Now, let's do one like this, but with an extra step. Do this on your own. Any questions before I move on, though? They will always give you the letter to solve for. Okay? So you're not looking for something. Not yet, at least. M minus 4n equals 8. M minus 4n equals 8. Solve for n as a nail. M minus 4n equals 8. What's the extra step? What's the last step? Divide by what? Negative what? Nope. Negative 4. This is why we do algebra. To think critically, think ahead, to predict, and to use our extrapolation. When we extrapolate, that means we predict beyond the graph, or beyond. Keep going. This is just like solving one-step equations, two-step equations. The difference is there's just a little bit more letters. Where'd the M go?
Are you done?
People, the M doesn't disappear, okay? It's still there. Possibly. That's okay. What is subtract or add? Okay, let's see here. Okay, again, we want to get n by itself, so I'm subtracting m. If you notice here, I'm just going to cross this out, though. I bring this entire part down here. However, I bring the 8 down and the minus m. Make sure you have that sign, because you subtracted on both sides. To still solve for n here, I'm still going to be dividing by negative 4 by every term. That cancels out. Then I have n equals, reduce my answer, negative 2. Be careful, right here, this part right here. What happens? That's a positive. What number's in front of that m? There's a 1, right? It's actually a fraction. Think about it. Or in this case, it's positive m over 4. Or, an acceptable answer, n equals m over 4 minus 2. These are both okay. We have to manipulate and move variables around to solve for the given term. Elijah, any questions? Okay. All right, let's do a fraction one. Now, will it be this complicated? Well, yeah, of course. But this is why I want you to do the odd problems in the back to check your work as you go. Okay, try this one. X minus c over 2 equals d. Solve for x. X minus c divided by 2 equals d as in dog. Solve for x. Need a little hint. I need to get rid of that fraction. That 2 in the bottom. A fractions are a division. So I multiply both sides of the equal sign by 2. Okay, Lena? I'm so excited to be here. If you want to use parentheses to contain the first half, the left side, you can. But eventually that 2 is going to cancel out from the left side. Right? If you're solving for x, multiply both sides of the equal sign by 2 to get rid of the fraction. The number goes in front. Okay. So what, get rid of that 2, multiply both sides of the equal sign by 2. Okay? This is a homework it's going to be difficult. To solve for x, if I contain this part here and multiply both sides by 2, I do that so that I'm able to cancel out that 2 so that all I have left is x minus c equals d2 or 2d, but I prefer 2d, 2 times d, right? And then to still solve for x, how do I get rid of the c? Or in this case, minus c. I add c. Cancel those c's out. I have x equals 2d plus c, or x equals c plus 2d. Oh, I'm sorry. Now, which one do I prefer? In the book prefers the second one. It goes in order, alphabetical order. It doesn't matter. Now, the hardest part about this problem is the fraction. Just multiply both the denominators. That's how you get rid of fractions consistently. Okay. Ready for a double fraction? Let's do it. Don't slack, please. This is not going to get any easier. We will also spend tomorrow as well on this lesson. This is usually the most difficult one of the year. 2/5 x minus 3/4 y equals c. Solve for x. Solve for x. 2/5 x minus 3/4 y equals c. Solve for x. Get rid of everything in front of x. think most of us are already started. Okay. First part. Nope, can't get rid of 2/5 yet. Nope. Why do we do this instead? Right, we're solving for x, right? So I'm eliminating, get rid of this whole term by adding 3/4 y to both sides of the equal sign. Because when you do that, that entire term cancels out. Then you have 2/5 x equals c plus 3/4 y. Now, am I finished? No. I still need to get x by itself. This is the hardest part right here. If you use a parentheses to contain this whole part, how do I get 2/5 to go away? Flip it. Take the reciprocal. 5/2 times 5/2 on both sides, Jesus, of the equal sign. That gives you room to get rid of those, cancel the x's out, the 2/5 out. All you have left is x. But now you have to distribute. I see all this is coming back. Distribution. 5/2c is 5/2. I'm going to show you the work here so that you see later. And then you have 5/2 times 3/4 y. 5/2c times 5/2 times 3/4. So then I should have x equals 5/2 c plus 15 what? 15/8 y. Very tricky. That's the hardest one. That's fine. There's more than one way to do it, though. Yes, this is the answer. Leave it alone. Leave that alone in this form. You can't reduce it, so you leave it alone. That's the answer. So that will probably be the hardest one you'll see tonight. On your homework tonight, besides bringing back your progress report, 10 through 28 all, check the odds in the back as you go. If you want to email me some answers, that's fine. Okay? Some of y'all will have a late night tonight. Please make an effort to do the homework today during school. When we come back tomorrow, we will have a quiz over 2-4 and 2-5. Any questions? Progress report and homework. No excuses tomorrow. I don't hear any excuses from anybody. Bye. Bye-bye. Make a twist. Don't need drugs.